In this review, I'll be looking at the Ralph McQuarrie concept Han Solo and concept Chewbacca action figures. Now, the key word to focus on is the word concept. This line of action figures is based on the drawings that were drawn up by Ralph McQuarrie before the actual big screen movie release of Star Wars. So these are pre-visualizations or pre-concepts of what the actual characters would look like. And you know that concept is just the idea in this person's mind of what these characters would look like. We know that eventually what they look like on the screen. Now we have Han Solo here, which is a Jedi Knight, which is obviously very different from what we get in the actual movie. So looking at the Han Solo packaging first, we can take a look at the drawing, or the concept Han Solo drawing, and right away you can see a lot of differences. Obviously, the big one is he wields a lightsaber. And in terms of just how he looks, way different from what we actually get in the movie. On the back, you do have a little write-up here, and it says basically that Han Solo was envisioned pre-movie release as a Jedi Knight rather than a roguish smuggler, and he wears close-fitting battle gear and wields a lightsaber. So quite different from the actual character in the movie. And we have a picture of the concept artist, Ralph McQuarrie. And you can pause the video and read about him. There is his bio. And we have a look at the other figures in the Ralph McQuarrie concept line. Now, one figure of note as we take a look at all of these figures real quickly here. One figure to point out is the very first figure here, and the name of the figure is McQuarrie Star Killer Hero. And if you take a look at the face, you'll see that it actually is a female. This is the I shouldn't say but the concept idea of Luke Skywalker's character. So in other words, I guess at one time they thought that maybe the Luke Skywalker character would actually be a female named Star Killer. So kind of interesting to see the different ideas that were bouncing inside of people's heads before the actual movie was released. So with that said, let's take a look at concept Han Solo. And he does come with this coin here. We can take a quick look at it here. And it does have some engravings and symbols on the back here. And he does have a lightsaber, and it does, or I should say a lightsaber hilt rather, so you can actually have this clipped to his belt. And where that would go is right here. And there's this flexible plastic here, and this actually would go in there like that. Now, it looks rather large, like too large to be an actual lightsaber hilt. In other words, it looks to be out of scale. But there you go, you have that option. I find that this gets in the way, so I'll just set that to the side, and we can have ourselves a look at the actual figure. Take a look at the head sculpt there. And he does have a cape which is attached to this chest strap here. And unfortunately, it's very loose. There's no connecting points, as you can see. When it's in package, it's pulling on the back of the cape, so it looks like there's a tight fit there, but you can see it's just rather loose, which is kind of annoying. But the cape itself does have a lot of detail, which is nice. And you can see he has a holster, and it does have a blaster which comes out. I'll show you that up close there. It does fit in his hand, although it's a rather loose fit. and it will eventually fall out. It did come packaged with those clear elastic bands. However, I removed that just to show you that you can fit the handle of the gun into his hand. And as you can see here, on his other hand, I have the lightsaber. I'll go ahead and remove that. This figure, for some reason, is a bit difficult to even stand. I don't know what the deal is. So I just borrowed a stand from a Marvel Universe figure. And, but yeah, a closer look at the lightsaber here. Pretty detailed. The actual beam itself is, I would say, more of a light blue translucent plastic. So you got that. Articulation for this guy. Well, you've got a head that's on a ball joint. Shoulders can go around. Arm can go out via the shoulder joint. You do have a swivel and a bend at the elbow, and a swivel at the edge of his glove there. So there is no wrist articulation per se, but you do have an articulation point there. Looks to be just a simple swivel joint at the waist, and same thing with the hips / leg. You can go forward, you can go back, but you cannot go out to the side, just a simple swivel. You do have a swivel and a bend here at the knee, and there is no articulation below the knee. So what I find cool, of course, about this figure is just how different he is from the actual character we see in the movies. So it's kind of an interesting look at concept Han Solo. And now we get to Chewbacca. And Chewbacca is very, very different. Let's take a look at his packaging first. Yeah, he looks kind of like a cross between a Sasquatch and a Chupacabra. So he is actually, as a figure, he's pretty tall. But here is the packaging. And on the back, again, you get a little bit of read-up on concept Chewbacca. Now read the first sentence there. Inspired by his Alaskan Malamute. And that's apparently George Lucas's inspiration for Chewbacca. Again, we have a look at Ralph McQuarrie, his bio there, and the other figures that are in the concept line, I believe. Yeah, there's Boba Fett. It looks like some of these aren't necessarily concept figures per se, but you can kind of tell which ones are because they look quite different, or they have really interesting names. Alright, so that's packaging. And accessories, well, you do get this gold coin with a design there of the actual concept Chewbacca figure. And on the back, similar to Han Solo's, you have the symbol there. I believe that's the Rebel Alliance symbol. And for his weapon accessories, well, he does come in a holster with a blaster. I'm going to take that out and show you that up close here. So you got the blaster, and then you have this fairly large weapon. I guess I'd call it a rifle or some sort of weapon. It's obviously it's not the bowcaster that we see in the movie, but an impressive looking weapon, all silver colored. And in terms of how he holds his weapons, his hands are sculpted weirdly. You can see here is his right hand, and I really can't, for this weapon, I really can't get this in any way that looks appropriate in terms of how it should look. I mean, it's not quite set up. It might be missing something, but it doesn't seem to be a good way for him to hold this weapon, and that goes for his left hand as well. Just can't seem to, make it look good. He can kind of hold on to it, but it doesn't seem to me that the sculpt is correct in the fingers. However, he does seem to hold the blaster, especially in his left hand, quite nicely. You can see his trigger finger hand coming through the guard there. So that looks appropriate. And again, it'll fit in this hand, but doesn't really seem quite right. So this right hand's got some problems, or maybe I'm just missing it, but this the way it's sculpted, it's kind of weird. But you do have those weapons. And here's a close look at Mr. Concept Chewbacca. There he is. Articulation-wise, as you just saw, his head is on a ball joint. Shoulders go around. However, it's just a swivel. There's no joint here to allow the arm to go out to the side. You do have a swivel and a bend at the elbow, and you have actual wrist articulation in this case, and just a simple swivel at the waist. You can see his harness here is separate from the actual body sculpt, and there doesn't seem to be a way though to actually remove it from the figure. You do have swivel at the legs, again forward and back, but you can't go out to the side. Swivel and bend at the knee, and the same at the ankles. And if we just take a look at a height comparison, you can see this guy is quite tall. So yeah, just an interesting look at how these characters were conceptualized and actually how they eventually turned out in the actual movies. So yeah, this has just been a look at the Ralph McQuarrie concept Han Solo and Chewbacca action figures. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you later.